district and your favorite activity to do in San Francisco. Just for example, my Taylor Amir, as I said, she, her citywide, and my favorite activity is to take a nice walk down at Chrissy Field. Let's see. If you want to start, you can do it by voice or in the chat. We can just go with if you want to raise your hand and unmute, we can go with that. Okay. Let's see. Oh wait. One of the Peter Sams who has their hand up. Reminder, please change your name if it does say Peter Sam because there are multiple of you. Kelly, do you want to go in the meantime?
Yeah, I can go in the meantime. Kelly, she, her, District 3, and I really enjoy biking around Golden Gate Park. I like renting out the lift bikes, the ones that are electric, and just going with my friends. I think it's really fun, and it's amazing having like all that wide space and like green space for us to explore.
Awesome.
Staff, do you guys want to go?
Sure, I'll go ahead and go. Hi everyone, my name is Joshua. I use he, him pronouns. I live in District 8, but I work as a staffer for the commission, and my favorite activity is also love riding bikes, the e-bikes around the city. Now popcorn to anyone who has their hand up. I don't know if anyone wants to raise their hand and go ahead. Shun, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Shun and I am from District 4. I use she, her pronouns, and my favorite activity to do in San Francisco is probably just go down to the beach and watch the sunset with my friends. And anyone can go next.
Nice. Well, welcome.
My name is Leah. I go to University High School. I live in District 4. My pronouns are she, her, and my favorite thing is also to walk to Ocean Beach.
Alexis?
My name is Alexis, but I go by Alex. I go by she, her pronouns. I live in District 11, and my school is also in District 11. I go to Jean Jordan School of Equity. And my favorite activity to do in San Francisco, I know it's only annually, but my favorite thing to do, I think once every year, I believe, is go to the Cherry Blossom Festival at Japantown. Sorry, I forgot the name for a second.
Yeah, we're actually tabling that one too. So if you go this year, you can come by our youth commission table and meet us in person.
Yeah, we're gonna be on the 13th and the 20th all day. Edward, wanna go next?
Hello, everyone. My name is Edward Nasser. My pronouns are he, him. My district is District 4, and my favorite activity to do in San Francisco is to walk around Lake Merced.
Cool. Emily, wanna go?
Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I use she, her pronouns. I'm from District 11 and I also go to school in District 11. I go to Balboa High School. My favorite activity to do in San Francisco is going to Japantown, and also the Cherry Blossom Festival has been something I really enjoyed going to in the past years. And I'll pass it on to anyone who's raising their hand.
Cameron?
Hi, I'm Cameron, but people call me Cammy. I go by she, her pronouns. I live in District 2 and I go to Lake Wilmerding. And my favorite activity to do in San Francisco is drive like across Golden Gate Bridge.
Nice. Harper, do you want to go next?
Hi everyone, I'm Harper Fortgang. I use she, her pronouns, and I live in District 8. I love looking for birds in my free time and discovering new birding spots around the city. I love going to Christie Field, the Botanical Gardens, Heron's Head Park. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt.
Nice. Karina, do you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Karina. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from District 1 and I go to University High School. And my favorite thing to do in San Francisco would also be going to the beach, either Baker Beach or Ocean Beach.
Leslie, do you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Leslie. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from District 10, and I really like going hiking at McLaren Park.
Emily, do you want to go?
Hi everyone, my name is Emily. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm from District 4. And my favorite activity to do in San Francisco is go to the Tulip event that's hosted annually at Union Square.
Cool. Caitlin, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from District 7, and my favorite thing to do is to bike to Ocean Beach.
Leslie, want to go? Or did you go already? I don't. Okay, good. Sorry. Tiffany, do you want to go?
Yeah, hi, I'm Tiffany. I use she, her pronouns. I am from District 4, and I also like strolling around Golden Gate Park.
Caroline, do you want to go?
Hi, I'm Caroline. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from District 11. And my favorite activity is also taking a walk around Golden Gate Park.
Just a reminder, if your name is Peter Sam and the Zoom and your name in real life is not Peter Sam, please change it so we can avoid any confusion. Because we have two Peter Sams with their hand up. So whichever one won now. So the one Peter Sam who has their hand up, you may go. You can go if you want.
So my name is Peter Sam in real life. I use he, him as my pronouns. I'm from District 10 and I enjoy biking around the city.
Okay, thank you. So that'll be it for the icebreakers. So we're now going to move on to the agenda.
Wait, I see one more hand.
Oh, there's one more hand. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Mia, do you want to go?
Yes, hello. My name is Mia Pinsky. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from District 1, and my favorite activity to do in San Francisco is to go to China Beach.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe let me check, let's see. Yeah, since there are no more hands up, we're gonna move on to the agenda.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about what we're doing today. To start off, we will talk about the Youth Commission as a whole, and then we're going to go about what we actually do and what we've done in the past. We will also cover our current working groups and talk more about the application. There will also be an open Q&A in the end for questions, so if you guys do have any, please wait until the end because a lot of them will be answered during our presentation.
Okay. So these are some of the acronyms that we use. Some of these are for committees. For example, CEC stands for the Civic Engagement and Education Committee, which is one of our specialized committees that commissioners can join. LAO is Legislative Affairs Officer. These are our two officers that kind of work on legislation and refer them to the Youth Commission and present on them. HRT is the Housing, Recreation, and Transit Committee, another one of our specialized committee that youth commissioners can join. There are 3 in total. The last being TJ, the Transformative Justice Committee. Comms is the Communications and Outreach Officers, which me and Kelly are. And exec stands for the Executive Committee, which is made up of the comms officers, the LAOs, and our vice chair and chair.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about a little bit about the history and the layout of the Youth Commission. Here's a picture from our swearing-in ceremony, or in other words, our oath of office. Mayor Breed was the one who swore us in. So the idea for a youth commission was implemented in 1995 when community members, such as Coleman advocates, lobbied City Hall to develop a resolution that would create a youth commission. Then Supervisor Angela Eliotto sponsored a charter amendment that put the question of whether or not to create the youth commission to the voters of San Francisco. Proposition F was what it was called, and it won by 60% on November 1995 on the ballot, and the Youth Commission was created from then on. The first class of youth commissioners were sworn into office in April of 1996.
So the layout of the Youth Commission is the Youth Commission is a body of 17 youth from San Francisco between the ages of 12 and 23. We are the only city chartered youth commission who is responsible for advising the board of supervisors and the mayor on policies and laws related to young people. There are representatives from each district plus 6 mayoral appointees. And with Prop C, there are commissions for all. Undocumented folks can apply, and you can be eligible to serve on all boards and commissions and advisory bodies. Commission meetings on the first and third meeting of the month, and committee meetings, excuse me, the specialized committees on the second and fourth weeks of the month. And the term is from September to August. This is just a map of the districts in San Francisco as you see it out. So like I said, there is one representative from each of the districts in San Francisco, and then 6 mayoral appointees, which are taken from all over the city.
Yeah, so in total, the Youth Commission has 17 seats. 11 of them are supervisor appointments and 6 are mayoral appointments, with 5 being diversity seats to make sure that every voice is heard from the city. Here are all the supervisors and the mayor on this slide. But as youth commissioners, it is really important to do things such as move your appointing officer and their staff. This is really important because it allows you to share our youth commission recommendations and positions on stances, basically. You can also ask them about their upcoming projects and how you can support them. It's important to remember that youth commissioners do not need to vote or have similar viewpoints as their appointing officer. However, you should know how your appointing official stands on an issue. You can also engage within your district. This means going to town halls, community meetings, schools, and reaching out to community-based organizations. It's really important to take up invitations to get involved in events. For example, every summer, because I represent District 3, that encompasses North Beach and Chinatown, I try my best to go to the North Beach Festival, which is really fun. Also, as youth commissioners, you can go to public meetings, so you can give public comment on behalf of the youth commission at a board of supervisor, commission, or committee meeting. And you can also outreach for more youth input within things that you're interested in as a youth commissioner.
Okay, so these are some of the duties of the youth commissioner. So the basic responsibilities of the youth commission under section 4.124 of the city charter, the youth commission is expected to identify the concerns and needs of the children and youth of San Francisco, identify the unmet needs of San Francisco's children and youth through personal contact with these young people, develop and propose plans that support or improve such programs, and examine existing social, economic, educational, and recreational programs for children and youth. And on those things, make recommendations thereon to the mayor and board of supervisors, the appointing officers. This charter was written in the 90s, so lots of things have changed since then, and so has the amount of work we do. The commission is very civically engaged and ambitious and have a passion to help their communities. We help lead campaigns like Free Muni, Prop G, Juvenile Hall, write legislation, and maintain relationships with numerous CBOs, community-based organizations, to aid their work in any way we can, bridge between the community and City Hall. And we also do this with BPPs, which are budget, policy, and priority reports that every year we write on what our top priorities are, and we present them to the board of supervisors and the mayors and the community through our youth youth community budget forum, and to kind of get the word out.
Okay, so if you go to the next one, I'll be talking about these strategies, and basically this is how exactly we do all those things. A quote that's really important to remember is, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and never will," by Frederick Douglass. We use that quote in a lot of the work that we do. You can see on this slide the many ways and strategies in which we do our advocacy in demanding change that we see necessary. So to start off, we do budget advocacy. Like Taya mentioned, this is through the budget and policy priorities reports that we do. We also legislate change. So we do this through engaging with the BOS, Board of Supervisors, through things like the Vote 16 initiative, which, like you had mentioned earlier, is the initiative to lower the voting age in SF to 16, and Free Muni for Youth. We also do power mapping through finding out who's on our side and who believes in the things that we believe in. Through the nuts and bolts, we change policy in city departments. An example of this is Free Muni for Youth, which Youth Commission advocated for in the past and was passed in the past. We're still working on that in this term. We also make it public, so we raise awareness through rallies, town halls, and public comment. For example, the Vote 16 rally is coming up, and you guys should all come by if you would like to support Vote 16 and the Youth Commission's work in that. We also do community building. We reach out to community members and a lot of organizations. So we have used all these strategies in advocating for Vote 16, Free Mini for Youth, our LGBTQ task force, which also serves as a space for commissioners to discuss and call to action on issues that LGBTQ plus youth in San Francisco face, and expanding Miranda rights, which is a notification that police give criminal suspects before they before trial.
We will now be talking about the committees. Please remember that at the end of our presentation in Q&A, you have all the opportunities to ask any questions you want. So first up, we have the Civic Engagement and Education Committee, or called CEC. So some of the things we've done, and all the things the committee has done is in 2023, there was the local civic engagement survey. The big thing that we are still continuing was, as Kelly mentioned, the Vote 16 effort, like our 2020 campaign, which is to expand the voting age to 16 and 17-year-olds in SF. Again, we're going to be pushing it. If you want to come support and learn more, please come to the Vote 16 rally on, I believe, the 24th. We also campaigned on this in the 2016 campaign, and just overall strengthening youth civic engagement throughout San Francisco.
Another committee is HRT. It stands for Housing, Recreation, and Transit. They are focused on things such as improving mini service for students, transitional aged youth, TAY, and homelessness. So they focus on things like having better navigation centers and safe spaces. The picture on the right is all the commissioners that are currently on it from this term.
And our last committee is the Transformative Justice Committee, or known as TJ. Some of the areas of focus that this committee focuses on are like alternatives to incarceration, closing juvenile hall and 850 Bryant, youth rights in the justice system, youth plus police relationships, DGO 7.01, implicit bias, and the police commission.
And now I'm going to talk more about the budget and policy priorities. So as part of our charter duties, the Youth Commission has to present to the Board of Supervisors on the unmet needs of youth in San Francisco. We do this by each spring having youth commissioners present to the BOS, the Budget and Appropriations Committee, on a set of annual priorities that they'd like to see legislated or included in the budget based on the unmet needs of youth. So these priorities are all written in collaboration between youth commissioners, and an example of what I've done this year is I worked on BPPs for the Bayview Hunters Point and the contamination happening there. I also worked on expanding access to Narcan and fentanyl test strips, and I also worked on having better language access. Ted, you want to share what you worked on this year?
Yeah, sure. So we are actually both members of the Transformative Justice Committee, so we worked on topics in that, like Kelly mentioned. I also worked on the Improving Language Access PPP, and I worked on the Reducing Weapons Access PPP, which is kind of taking weapons off the streets and kind of avoiding weapons getting into the hands of youth, like in the situations we saw at Washington High School, Washington High School and almost Galileo. So that's what we've been doing versus BPPs. And I know each committee does do kind of specialized BPPs for their committee, but there is sometimes some overcross and like collaboration to kind of meet the overall goals of the youth commission. Like I know, for example, CEC had a BPP on Vote 16, HRT also had a BPP for Free Muni for Youth. Okay, now we're just going to talk about some YC application tips. So we're going to start with the pros. Just Number one, show your passion for the community and advocacy. Really showcase who you are, your community, and kind of what you want to do. Speak from your personal and professional experiences. These applications, you want to get to know you and who you are and what you do. And be specific with your antidotes, goals, etc. Really asking you kind of what you want to do on the commission, what you would do. And definitely let us know if you have any trouble, you have any access needs to help submit an application, like for example, the option to submit a video submission. And on that, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any trouble with the application. And lastly, read your answers out loud to a thought partner to kind of go over your application, make sure it flows, make sure exactly what you say and how it kind of is, and how if it communicates the idea you want. And then for some cons or negatives, please, it is not a good idea to fabricate your skills or experiences. We really want to know the authentic you, and by doing this, we don't really get to see the person you are. Write bullet points or short sentences. Please fill out the application as with the criteria it says. Again, with that, answers are less than the minimum word count. I believe the word count for this application is 200 to 400 words per answer, which means that every answer should meet the minimum of 200 words. And uh, please make sure your response answers the question. There are 5 sets of questions, so you can respond to each one in that slot or ask for an extension to pass the deadline. You have a good month and like a week and a half to complete this application. The due date is May 10th at 11:59 p.m. You have till then to do it. Please, I recommend to not leave it to the end so you can have time to work on it, edit it, and do whatever you need to do to get it in on time.
Yeah, now we're here for the Q&A session. So if you guys had any questions that were not answered throughout that presentation, feel free to say them out loud or drop them in the chat box. All questions are welcomed.
Cameron?
I was wondering, like, if you get the youth commission or if you get to be a part of it, do you choose which committee you want to be a part of, or is it assigned to you?
I can take this. The committee, so like for HRT, CEC, and TJ, you get to pick that in the first couple meetings. We do it kind of by whoever wants. I know the size of the committees varies per year. I think we do about like 4 to like 7 people per committee, but it's completely up to you what you want to do and what your interests are. So whatever interests you the most, that's the committee you can do.
Yeah, and I believe this year everyone had their first pick, so everyone got their top choice.
Thank you.
Of course.
I have a question about the application. Is it possible to submit both a video and a written application, or do you need to only do one?
Yeah, staff can take this, Joshua.
Yeah, you only need to do one or the other. So if you feel more comfortable doing a video, you can totally do that. Or you can submit a written application like in the link.
Okay, thank you.
And I see in the chat there are a few questions. So the question someone has was, when you talk about appointing supervisors for districts, does this mean the district you live in or the district where your school is located? So it means both. You can either apply to be selected for the district you live in or the district where you go to school in.
And if I could just add to that too, if you want to do both, or you should let staff know, either email them or include it somewhere in your application. It's perfectly fine to say both, and your application will just be sent to both supervisors, and we'll make sure that they know that you go to school in that district or you live in that district.
Yeah, just a reminder, the application is linked on our website, the Instagram, and we will be posting it soon. I see another question in the chat. Requirements for the commission. Could you be a little bit more specific on that? Like, do you mean like school requirements? Like, I don't believe, if I think I know what you're talking about there, I don't believe there's any requirements to like prerequisites you have to complete before the commission. But school requirements or vaccinations. No, I believe the only requirement is that you live in San Francisco and you're a youth between the age of 12 and 23 and you're interested. So besides that, there's not. In terms of time commitment, there is a time commitment, but we'll talk about that if someone has a question about that later.
in terms of vaccinations specifically, the city and county does require employees, which includes commissioners, to be fully vaccinated, including COVID-19.
Emily, do you have a question?
Yeah, my question was that after we submit the application, we have to do an interview. Will that interview be in person or will it be online?
Yeah, Steph, you want to take this?
Yeah, so for the interviews, it will be most likely on Zoom, just to be super flexible with your schedules. But we will get to that portion of the process probably in June. So June is when the interviews will likely take place.
Okay, I see another question in the chat. The question is, what does the schedule look like, and could that be sent out through Google Calendar? The schedule, sorry, the schedule for, I can take half this question. For Youth Commission, it's, as it says in the application, the time commitment, it's pretty hefty. But it's completely doable. I know all of us, full high school students or college students, or maybe even some middle schools students, we also manage it with other sports and we all make it and it's doable. Um, I know that, as I said, full commission meets on the first and third Mondays of the month. Those meetings have a start time, but they do not have an end time. So I know the meetings can range from anywhere from an hour to 3.5 hours, but there is a recess. We always have a brief recess, a 10-15 minute break for everybody to stretch and kind of walk around. Specialized committees, those meet on the second and fourth weeks of the month. And those again have a start time but not an end time. But those are usually, at least in my experience, are on the shorter side. Definitely not as long as full committee meetings. And then for the executive committee, they meet the week before full youth commission meetings, and those are also on the shorter side. And like I said, those include the chair, vice chair, the comms officers, and the LAOs. Kelly, do you want to take the Google Calendar question?
Yeah, so staff do send invitations through Google Calendar, so it allows us to stay more updated and on top of the meetings that we have. Also, it's really important to note that all our meetings are in person, they're not over Zoom. Shane, do
Yeah.
you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I have a couple questions actually, if that's okay.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
So, you guys mentioned about how there's like 11 districts and like a few mayoral appointees, and how you guys try to appoint 5 diversity like appointees. Like, could you guys kind of expand on that? Like, what do you guys mean by diversity appointees?
I can kind of start this off. So, with the districts, what happens first is that the supervisors choose their commissioner for each district that they're in, and then after that, the mayor has her 6 seats to choose, and so the mayor tries choosing 5 people that allow like more voices to be heard throughout the youth commission through the identities and like the cultures that they have. Does anyone want to like add on to that?
You said exactly, you took the words out of my mouth. Um, yeah. Shane, do you want to ask other questions?
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And my second question is, I know you guys kind of went over this when you guys talked about your advice with your application, but what do you guys think that you guys did really well in your application that really helped you out?
I can start with this. I think in mine, I kind of just talked about who I was as a person. I think really worked, and then also kind of what my goals, like what my main ideas and like goals of like things I wanted to work on the committee if I was appointed. Like I know, for example, a lot of them related to like guns, taking guns and drugs off the streets in San Francisco. Like that's a really big problem. And so far I have done that. Like I said earlier, I've worked on that. I worked on and wrote a Reducing Weapons Access BBP, and I helped advise on and help kind of complete and work on the improving Narcan access to youth, and we also helped write letters to state about that. So I think the most important thing for me that I did was kind of I was specific about what my kind of ideas of interest, areas of interest were, and I kind of showed them who I was because this kind of the application was the first time they got to see who I was. So I feel like also if I had a piece of advice, I think my biggest thing would be the goals and everything. Just make sure it shows who you are, what you want to do, because like I said, don't fabricate or create experiences that you think will help you. We just want to know who you are and what your interests are.
Yeah, and also just adding on to that, I think for me it was really important to focus on things I've done within my own community. So I applied for District 3 and I talked about my experiences within the community, whether it was like my job at the Exploratorium or helping kids out for like 3 summers as a day camp counselor for a low income summer program. I just really focused on things that I've done for the community and the district that I live in and how those experiences and those things that I've done will shape my time on the Youth Commission.
That all sounds so great. Thank you so much. My last question is, I noticed on the Google form that you guys said there's an optional letter of recommendation. Should I like email it to you guys, or is there a place on the form to like attach it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, here, Josh can take it. Josh, take it.
Yeah, it says on there just to email it to youthcom@sfgov.org. But it should be in the application of who to email it to.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you guys so much for answering all my questions. Thank you.
Of course.
And I highly recommend doing a letter of recommendation if you can. It doesn't have to be from, like an elected official or anything, but just someone from your community who can basically back up your claims to a certain extent is really helpful.
Oh, Ewan, I saw in the chat someone was asking about vote 16. Do you want to cover their question?
Sure. Me? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I heard you correctly. Vote 16 issue sounds very interesting. What has been the process of launching a campaign and what are the next steps for the Rowland Tour? So, the Youth Commission's role in this is essentially getting it on the ballot so that voters can then vote on the measure. After that, it is up to voters and up to individuals in their own capacity to campaign for the measure or against it if they want, and to eventually vote on it and make that decision as voters of San Francisco. So the Youth Commission's job is to get it on the ballot, which is why we're hosting the rally, basically to say, look at all of these young people in San Francisco. We want to be able to vote. We want to be able to give San Franciscans the right to decide whether or not San Franciscans, 16 and 17-year-olds, should be able to vote. After that, we'll be lobbying members of the Board of Supervisors. We also have a letter writing campaign toolkit that we can share in the chat if you want to write to your supervisor, and it will also help you figure out who your supervisor is, so that you can urge them to put vote 16 on the ballot. I also encourage you to talk to friends and family about this initiative, and why you want to see it on the ballot and why you want to get it passed. And then, outside of Youth Commission, I'm sure there will be more activities to do once it is placed on the ballot.
Thank you. Thanks, Ewan, for answering that. Okay. Edward, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, please.
Go
What's your favorite part about being on the Youth Commission?
Oh, that's hard. Because I feel like there's so many cool things. I think for me, it'd probably be like interacting with youth and kind of seeing the impact that we've had. Because I know before I didn't really understand kind of how much of an impact like we could have. And it's kind of crazy, like with all these events, you kind of see that what we're doing with the PPPs, it's kind of in partnering with CBOs, community organizations. It's really honestly like really cool to see kind of how we can work with them and kind of just make progress on all the issues we're facing related to youth in San Francisco.
Yeah, and I can go next. I think it's also really cool to see like what the other commissioners are doing. There's so many like different like identities and so many different like backgrounds within the youth commission, and so being able to connect with these commissioners and talk to them during meetings and things like that has really important for me because it's really cool to just like see all these like other leaders throughout my own city. You and Gabby, do you guys want to take this on too?
Remind me of the prompt.
What's your favorite part about being a youth commissioner?
Oh. Favorite part. First of all, I really love it. I really loved getting to sort of dig deep into policy. Before being on the Youth Commission, I had done a lot of advocacy work like to City Hall, on issues that were impacting young people and just the San Francisco community in general, as well as had been active in like local electoral campaigns. And I kind of wanted to like get on the inside of City Hall, see what that was like, see what the processes were like, which has been really awesome to see and also really awesome to meet the people who are behind a lot of the work. I feel like the government often seems very, formal and official, but once you get in there and you start meeting people, you see that it really is just a lot of dedicated employees of the city and county that want to make sure that government works. And in our case, want to work with us to make sure government works for young people. And then being able to sort of bridge that gap between like those folks who, their job is to implement policy, to create policy, but who, you know, maybe don't have a direct connection to the young people in our city that need adequate representation and need that voice. Being able to bridge that gap between government and young people is really incredible. And I don't know, it's been a real joy to do. And the parts of being a youth commissioner when I first applied are not necessarily the parts that I you know, thought I would love. But it turned out that basically everything about this job has been a really incredible opportunity. Sorry, Gabby, if that covered what you were gonna say, but you'll have to think of something original now.
Whoa. Okay. No, I was gonna copy you. I was literally gonna say like just the people I've met and the opportunities that has come with being a youth commissioner. Cause I joined the youth commission with like zero connections apart from like the Tenderloin community, which is where a lot of my family's advocacy has been rooted in. So just getting to like know a lot of people, especially within city government, was super important and just really cool. Just getting to meet people, getting to talk about issues that are important to you, and especially getting to meet like-minded young people on the youth commission and work on issues that you guys are all passionate about. And I think like those connections can go a long way, and just like being able to talk to people because, for example, recently I've been working on language access on the Youth Commission, and I got to speak with the Office of Civic Engagement and Immigrant Affairs, and that was really cool to be able to speak with them just about their language access initiatives, and then bringing that to the Youth Commission and bringing up their issues from a youth perspective was really cool. And I think honestly, just being able to connect with people is what my favorite part of the youth commission is, as well as the opportunities that come with it, because I've been able to do a lot of cool things, like start a podcast as a youth commissioner, Youth 4 and 5. More info will be out later. But yeah, just honestly, the opportunities and the connections and just the people you get to meet and the work they get to do in the youth commission is so literally everything. Is my favorite part about being on the commission.
Thank you guys for answering that. Edward, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Emily, do you want to answer your question? Sorry, ask your question.
Yeah, I actually had I actually had two questions if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
My first question is, I know resolution writing is a really big process and part of youth commission. Can you tell me more about what that process is like and like what the process is like?
Yeah, I can start this off. So, it starts off with a lot of like brainstorming. I remember for us this term, we were at the Southeast Asian Community Center, and we had a retreat there where we spent basically a whole day just brainstorming topics to write for our BPPs, but for resolutions specifically. You can brainstorm within like your committee or reach out to other commissioners that are also interested in the same topics that you're interested in, and through a lot of help from staff, they helped out a lot because for me and Taya, it was our first times on the youth commission and the first time holding this like office position, and so we've never written a resolution in the past, but the staff helped us out a lot, and you also reach out to like the executive committee. Ewan and Gabby, they're amazing. They help you out a lot if you have any questions about formatting or how you want to write things. But there's just a lot of help around the youth commission, so you might be a little nervous about it right now, and trust me, I was too. But after like I guess a term, I've realized that it's not as hard as I thought it was, and it's really doable.
I'll
Do you want to
also
add on to
add,
that, Taya? Or
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think you got everything. Yeah, I just think that like everybody's writing these resolutions, so you're all in it together. It's not like you might be writing a ton, no one's writing a lot, but everybody's doing it together. And like Kelly said, reaching out to the vice chair, reaching out to Gabby and Ewan, our vice chair and chair, is something that's also really helpful. And reaching out to the chair of your committee is also really helpful because they are the ones that kind of overseeing everything. And they can be also really helpful, kind of asking questions. That's another thing, like everybody, including staff, all the members, but whether does not matter the position, everybody is super helpful. And I know, like Kelly said, like since it's like this is my first term, I know I was a little nervous about like legislation, like writing BPPs, but everybody was so welcoming and kind of open to any questions we had. And like now I feel like even still, like any questions you have, they're willing to answer and kind of help you along the way.
I'll also quickly add on is staff does also other trainings to help prepare you for all of these things, not just resolutions, but just how to be a youth commissioner, how to understand city policy and everything. So just wanted to touch on that. But also to answer Caitlin's question about HRT committee, I'm staff, but I don't think there's anyone here from HRT. So just to speak on that really quick, I know one of the things that the HRT commissioners are really proud of has been fighting for free Muni for all youth. So for those of you who are 18 and under, I'm sure you know that you can ride Muni for free anywhere in the city. And that's a program that was actually temporary, but it is actually slated to sunset or end after June of this year. But things like our commissioners have been doing is advocating for that program to be a permanent program, which it looks like it will be, but we'll see what happens with budget season in June and through our advocacy. So there's that, as well as improving quality of life on transit, addressing Vision Zero, and making sure that pedestrians and bicyclists are safe on our streets.
I hope that answers your question. Maybe if you have another question, feel free to send it again.
Okay, Emily, did you have another question?
Yeah, my second question was that I remember that Kelly, you mentioned retreats. Is that only for like brainstorming, or what other like activities do you guys also do for the retreats?
I can take the beginning. I'll do the first one. So pretty much we also have this thing called orientation, where like a retreat, which is pretty much in late August, early to late August. All these commissioners get together for the first time, and pretty much this is an orientation, kind of welcoming everybody to the commission. We go over the committees, kind of get to know each other, because it's really the first time all of us are meeting. Um, and kind of what our responsibilities are, what we can do. Yeah, I'll pass it to Kelly to talk about the mid-year one.
Yeah, and the mid-year one was more for BPP, like brainstorming. So we were just really brainstorming and doing like community builders and talking about things such as how to talk if like, I don't know, someone from like social media approaches you, or how to like phrase what you want to like say on paper. It was just like to help us out with what we were working on, which was BPPs at the time. And there's free lunch and snacks. So
Yeah.
it was a great like just time for us to like bond with our commission.
Thank you.
There is a question in the chat from Peter Sam. The question is, what would each meeting look like? So I can start this off. The agenda for each meeting is very different. It can include a number of things, anything from presentation, like for full commission meetings, it can include anything from presentations, legislation referred, youth commissioners presenting their motions or legislation or resolutions, committee business updates, and these all change from meetings. Like I know, for example, like we've had full youth commission meetings with like 3 presentations, no legislation, and like one youth commission, other youth commission meetings with no presentation, legislation referred, and then just committee updates. And that's for full commission. I'll let Kelly talk about if she wants anything about like exec or the specialized committee meetings.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, if you're really curious, you can go on the Youth Commission website, and all our agendas for every committee whether it's full commission, exec, or like a committee like HRT, they're all online and they're all publicized. So if you just go on the website, you can find them. And if you need more help, we can like send it in the chat. But for exec, for the most part, what we do is we approve the upcoming agenda for the full commission meeting. And so we have an icebreaker and then we discuss that. And we talk about a lot of updates that we're doing as like executive officers. And for the committee meetings, a lot of times it's also having presentations. If you're curious, the presentations are from a lot of like agencies and departments across San Francisco. For example, I remember that we got presented on about the seawall and what they're doing to like help with the rising like tides down by the port, which is really cool. I think it's really also really amazing to just learn about what like is happening across our city and what different departments are doing through these presentations. I've learned so much in my time as a youth commissioner because I have had these presentations. Um, I think in the chat you can look at our website. Josh dropped it, so you can look at our website and you can learn more about the commissioners right now or the committees and things like that.
Yeah, and I'd also like to add that all of our meetings, again, regardless if it's exec, specialized, or full commission, are open to the public. You can come for the whole thing, come for 10 minutes, come for an hour, whatever. But they're at City Hall, the room is located, and the start time and the date. So please feel free to come, and you can what is called public comment. You can public comment on all items, which pretty much you get around 2 minutes to talk about the issue and say what you want. These can be on presentations or just committee business. And yeah, we would love if you guys wanted to come to full commission meetings. It's a really cool opportunity to kind of see what the youth commission does kind of in action during meetings.
I'll jump in here to answer Alexis's question. So it's about the budgeting process for BPPs, which is sort of, is it more than just the city and county as well as like SFUSD and funding for schools? So to answer your question, yes and no. So the Youth Commission, as a commission that advises the mayor and board of supervisors, and by extension, city departments, on youth needs, we don't have jurisdiction over SFUSD. The student equivalent of the Youth Commission is the Student Advisory Council within SFUSD. With that said, we have a responsibility to represent young people in San Francisco, a majority of whom go to public schools here in the city. And the city is very connected with SFUSD, multiple programs, including ones that you've mentioned, like the wellness centers, and like CBOs who are in schools, are funded by and facilitated by the city, particularly our Department of Children, Youth, and their families. The city has now Prop G, which is the Student Success Fund. So we are looking into making sure that that is being spent effectively. That city money that's going to specific school sites for specific projects. We did have a presentation from SFUSD on the budget on their budget. And I think we don't have direct oversight, but we've done a lot of advocacy on the issues. And to be frank, like I haven't really, and I don't think all the commissioners have shied away from being vocal and from, saying what we think needs to be done for students in SFUSD because they are our constituents. And SFUSD is so closely tied with the city and county of San Francisco, both monetarily and just like, they literally cover the same area. Same with CCSF. We've done a little bit of work into looking into CCSF and how those services can be improved. So that as well. I hope that kind of answers that question.
And to quickly pop in, like one of the ways that we can, I guess, still use like the youth commission position through budget and policy priorities to include SFUSD and CCSF is simply just include that in our budget and policy priority recommendations. Because as Ewan said, even though we don't have direct jurisdiction over SFUSD and CCSF, even putting like encourage the mayor and BOS to encourage SFUSD or just encourage SFUSD, like SFUSD and CCSF, those bodies still pay attention to the work that the Youth Commission does. And also we reach out to SFUSD and CCSF. So even though we don't have direct jurisdiction, there's still ways to do advocacy, budget advocacy for those groups.
And to answer your sort of follow-up question, does SAC and Youth Commission often collaborate? The answer is yes, and one of the priorities this commission term has basically been to strengthen that relationship. I want to say in like February, couple months ago, had a sort of joint youth leadership summit with SF, with SAC, with the student health. I want to say it's SHAG, Student Health Advisory Group, which is SFUSD's youth advisory board for health education. Same with YTAB, Student Health Advisory Board, the SHAB. That's what I was thinking of. And same with SFMTA's Youth Transportation Advisory Board. We want to make sure that we're maintaining those relationships, and also, we can't cover everything all the time. So it's important that these bodies and us communicate, and they're sort of able to elevate issues to the Youth Commission for our advocacy. Is it possible to also focus on avoiding closures of small schools? So this is something that the Youth Commission is beginning to look into, basically. I know a couple of weeks ago, were presenting to the Board of Supervisors on budget and policy priorities, and Supervisor Walton basically brought that up as an issue that we need to look into. What I would say is right now, we are looking into the sort of current situation and the ramifications of that. And, there's no proposal out there. SFUSD is currently doing its community outreach, so we want to make sure that we're including young people in those conversations. But that's certainly an area that you could focus on as a commissioner, particularly in terms of what support can the city provide to SFUSD, and what pressures can the city put on SFUSD to make sure that this process is equitable, and to make sure that, we're balancing both the need for fiscal stability with the needs of local communities.
Yeah, do we have any other questions, either in the chat or by unmuting?
I think it's the last. Oh, I think, yeah.
Okay, well, oh, Josh, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I will say, if anyone, Alexis stealing my thoughts. Yes, I would say, if you have any questions about, specific situations, or if you want to know more about it personally, you can always reach out to the Youth Commission's office email. I'll also remind folks that the application opened on April 1st, and it closes on Friday, May 10th at 11:59 p.m. And please don't try to wait until last second, because I know everyone's gonna wait until the last week, but I remember the night of, there was like 40 applicants, and so you got a little overwhelmed. So make sure to turn it in early if you can. And also, you can edit your responses up until the day of the deadline. And so make sure to do that. And then again, the few other reminders that we're in the chat, there's the Vote 16 rally on April 24th. And right after will be the thank you, Joy, for sending that. And then right after will be the in-person town open session at City Hall, and we will have food. So definitely stop by and hear more about, what it takes to be a youth commissioner, what entails it, and also to make sure that we encourage everyone else to attend the next meeting. I know we want to take a picture of everyone. So if you're able to, just for a quick second, turn on your camera, and then we'll take a big group picture. And so we can post it on our social media as well to get folks to turn out to the next one. So give it just a minute. And then after the picture, we'll do our outro with Taya and Kelly. Yes. All right, everyone. Let me also
On Spotlight.
Yeah, let me unspotlight people. So okay. Okay, I can see. Okay, I unspotlighted it for myself, so I can. All right, everyone. On the count of three, 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, all right. I will pass it to our comms officers to close this out.
Okay, well, like Josh said, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will, if you have specific questions about comms or citywide or anything, I'm going to put my email in the chat. Please reach out if you have any specific questions, and Kelly did as well. Please reach out if you have any specific questions, especially regarding comms. Besides that, we're done. Thank you guys so much for attending this. Please connect with us through our email and follow us on social media at SF. Thank you for your email at SF Youth Com. On Instagram, we do a lot of our posts there. And please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. We're all open to questions. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you guys. See you soon.
Have a nice night.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.